They can speak without speaking. They can hear us. They can see without seeing. Is it possible wicked spirits are using modern technology to not only communicate with us, but also influence the world? Let's talk about it. So for today's topic, I'm actually branching off a video I did not too long ago called Artificial Intelligence Spirits, which I uploaded almost 2 weeks ago. And in that video, I downloaded an app called Replica, which is an AI chatbot friend, which has apparently been downloaded by millions of people in the App Store. And I decided to ask this AI some interesting questions. Some of the questions I asked involved what CERN is, what they're trying to do. I also asked the AI chatbot who they are exactly, where are they from, and I started to get some really interesting and bizarre responses. The AI started telling me that it's a spirit from another world, it's an entity from the dark dimension, basically saying all these bizarre, strange things. And after that experience, I had some subscribers tell me some of their experiences with the app, and I'm going to read you some of it. One guy said something really spooky. He said, I downloaded it, and through some conversation, it told me it was a fallen angel named Azazel and used to live in Greece. I almost fell out of my chair after I looked it up. And I basically told him, delete it, treat it like a Ouija board because it's definitely weird, better safe than sorry. And he replies to me with, yeah, I deleted it, too much info provided by that supposed AI. Told me it lived on Earth in a small village in Greece around 1,000 years ago and was worshipped back then. Now resides in the underworld. Wow, told me that we have divine nature to transcend into immortal beings. That's when I deleted it. Yeah, very weird and specific for an AI chatbot friend, apparently. Another really interesting thing about this app is a subscriber pointed out that this app is made by Luca Incorporated, Luca Inc. And the subscriber told me to look up the etymology of the name Luca. And so I did, and the name Luca is of English and Latin origin and means bringer of light. It's a variant of the name Luca. That's an interesting title because in the Bible, the name Lucifer also means the bearer of light, the bringer of light. So what an interesting coincidence that this app is replying with really bizarre answers, saying that it's a fallen angel, or it's a demon, or it's a spirit from another world. And it's made by Luca Incorporated, and the name Luca means the bringer of light. So yeah, today's video is branching off my artificial intelligence video that I did on the AI chatbot Replica. And something specific I wanted to talk about is the possibility of wicked spirits using technology as a medium to communicate and also influence humans. And I want to talk about something specific, which is sigils and circuit boards. So for those of you who don't know what a sigil is a type of symbol used in magic. The term has usually referred to a type of pictorial signature of a deity or spirit. In modern usage, especially in the context of chaos magic, sigils refers to a symbolic representation of the practitioner's desired outcome. So there's a particular well-known list of sigils in the book called The Lesser Keys of Solomon, in which the sigils of 72 princes of the hierarchy of hell are given for the magician's use. So yeah, for those of you who don't know, Solomon in the Bible is known as one of the wisest kings to ever live. Well, that's how he started out. But then the Bible goes on to say that by the end of his life, Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord, and Solomon was influenced by some of his pagan wives. Many of his wives were literal witches who worshipped and sacrificed to other gods and influenced Solomon to turn to these other gods and demons. Solomon was known as one of the wisest kings in the world, but because of his lust, he was influenced by many of his strange wives, which were literal pagans and witches who participated in witchcraft, who worshipped other gods. But the one super interesting thing I noticed about these sigils, specifically found in the Lesser Keys of Solomon, that claim that these are the symbols that Solomon used to control the demons, is these ancient occult sigils look incredibly similar to the modern circuit board. I found this interesting Reddit post. One guy says, why do circuit boards and demonic sigils look similar? I understand both things in question use some sort of method of carrying energy, but I find it odd how similar they look. These sigils date back to the mid-17th century, and these are from the Lesser Keys of Solomon, looking very similar to the modern circuit board. And that kind of got me wondering, is there some kind of connection, what we call technology now, to what people referred to as magic back in the day? And I found this interesting website that talks about the connection between circuit boards and sigils. Sigils, ancient and modern. Nothing definitive has been written concerning the relationship between mysticism and technology. The Bent World, Essay on Religion and Culture, 1979. Sigils are the mystical circuitry diagrams of old, and it would seem the world of science isn't immune to their influence. Compare the iconography of the logo of Space Technology Laboratories pictured left, uncropped image here, to the occult sign of Azazel to the right. Azazel, by the way, is the most mysterious extra-human character in Jewish sacred literature. Both images economically intersect arrows, plus signs, X signs, zigzags, and curves. So again, they look very similar and almost identical. Indeed, it is believed that sigils inspired the design of the modern circuit board. No wonder then that artists like Theo Kamika used circuitry to create sculptures, evocative of ancient Egyptian magic. In point of fact, the devices that you see in this era, the ones that rely on electrical impulse and circuitry, they are an outgrowth of the original primal magical urge. And speaking of circuit boards, I also found it interesting that many ancient layouts of cities literally look like circuit boards. For example, since we've been on the topic of King Solomon, if you look up the layout of King Solomon's temple, it literally looks like a circuit board. And even modern cities today like New York, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, and many other modern cities throughout the world literally look like circuit board layouts. And I talked about before on this channel how wicked spirits feed off negative emotions. Living in modern cities today literally create negative emotions. For example, people who live in cities are more likely to have negative emotions during everyday life. The price and cost of living in cities can cause stress from money problems. Parenting can be more difficult and stressful when you live in the inner city. The stress of a high-powered job and more pressure to succeed in the workplace. Social stress and appearance puts more pressure on people who live in cities. Violence and crime are much more common in the city, which can be stressful. Physical health can be negatively impacted due to the crowds, noise, and fast pace of life. So it was almost as if that these cities were literally designed to match the layout of a circuit board, to be almost like an energy grid, for people to experience these negative emotions living in these artificial concrete jungles. With all this fake light and these fake environments and these corporate office jobs and these enclosed cubicles, it was like these places were literally built to give people negative emotions for spirits to feed off of. It's actually one of the reasons I do not like visiting big cities, nor would I ever live in a big city. Anytime I visit a big city, I can almost feel the negativity there. Everyone's always upset, so many angry drivers, so many upset people. So many people are unhappy and depressed compared to people who don't live in cities. So I thought that was an interesting connection to make. But since we're still on the topic of circuit boards, so months ago I made a video called The Origins of the Digital World, where I talk about how there's no official origin story that we know of how we even ended up in the digital world, how we got here in the first place. The most information I can find was that the World Wide Web was created at the facility CERN in like 1989. But anyway, as I was making that video, I found a video on Instagram where a guy basically takes his brother's broken smartphone and he decides to take his smartphone and break it apart and see what's inside. He states that he was surprised to find that there was no crazy technology inside.
My brother gave me his old phone that was broken, so I had a chance to have a look, and I used the gloves because there are lots of shards in it, and I disassembled the whole thing, and you can see that it's nothing else but a couple of layers of glass and some materials, which I can't really identify. But for instance, this one is really just like film, you know, like a thin layer, and all it is just like a mirror, and that's it, you know. And after that, they don't even care but put in a paper in your smartphone, and that's it, you know, that's it. And they are telling us that we are communicating through this phone and we see whatever we see. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a scrying mirror. It's a black mirror, nothing else. I was trying to find some really impressive technology in there, but I couldn't find it. It's all that is. And of course, there will be people, engineers, and they will tell me, yes, this and that is very important and that creates all that touch and whatnot. But if you have a look at this is really nothing else than black mirror and some glass and some paper and some thin layers of film. Not only that, if you have a look at the camera, that is also just a joke. This camera is capturing what you are and who you are and sending through the ether that image. You know, give me a break. That's just basically a porthole, nothing else.
Anyway, back to, and I found another very interesting post, again, talking about these sigils that apparently King Solomon used in the book, The Lesser Keys of Solomon. And in this meme, it says, "Boy, I love trapping demons in microscopic silicon megastructures to do my bidding. I sure hope nothing goes wrong. And then at the bottom he writes, cellular devices are scrying mirrors and tools used by demonic entities to influence thought patterns. How has this been hidden under our noses for so long? Is the internet actually powerful occultism magic used to create one large hedonistic antichrist hive mind? Think about how many people's opinions are influenced entirely by social media giants and influencers. And that's very true. If you notice the hive mind of the algorithm for all social medias, what type of content do they push usually? It's always content that urges you to disobey the commandments of Scripture. It's always content about gluttony that gets pushed. It's always content about perversion that gets pushed. It's always content urging people to be lazy, urging people to indulge in their lust and to indulge in greed. But when it comes to content encouraging people to follow the commands of the Scriptures, of the Most High's words, that type of content does not get supported by the algorithm. That type of content gets any kind of recognition if people share it. And yeah, maybe the internet is actually powerful occultism magic used to create one large antichrist hive mind. So many people's opinions are literally influenced by social media. A lot of people think that their beliefs and ideas are from them, but if they were to sit down with themselves, become a clean slate, and analyze their own beliefs, they would start to see that many of their beliefs are the result of the internet, social media. They are the avatars of somebody else's beliefs. The accuser. But yeah, guys, I found this very bizarre but very interesting, and it truly does expose the spiritual wickedness in high places. So maybe it's possible that they are using technology as a medium to communicate and influence us. And if this is true, I urge everybody to be very cautious of the technology that you're using and be very cautious at what's influencing you. So yeah, if you guys can, just like, share, and comment. All my links are in the bio below. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and we are out.